What's happening, guys? It's your girl Mina. Welcome back to my channel. You guys already know what it is. Let me just do my intro. First and foremost, I hope you're all having a good Saturday. I doubt you are, but I hope you are having a good Saturday. Manchester United 0, Bournemouth 3. You know, the vibe has definitely changed from the stream that I did this morning, Saturday morning vibes. The mood is definitely different right now. Arsenal are playing Villa right now. They're losing 1-0, but I don't even care. I actually do not even care about that. I can't even hate. I got no hate in me anymore because I am embarrassed. And I'm sure a lot of you guys feel embarrassed. Has to be the worst season that I've probably seen in a long, long time. Probably the worst season that I've seen in a long time. First and foremost, big up to everyone in the chat. Be sure to hit the like button on the way in. You can join the membership group. It's the pinned comment in the chat. You get your badges, you get your emojis, and for the midweek call-in shows, you get priority access to call in. But enough about that, guys. Let's talk about today's game. Let's honestly talk about today's game. And you know what, guys? I said that I don't know how much longer I could honestly defend this manager. You lot know where I stand with the players. But today, after I saw the second goal go in, I saw Luke Shaw get dunked on. We're playing three fullbacks in the back line. By choice. Because we have Rafael Varane sitting on the bench. Didn't even come on. Didn't even get an opportunity of involvement. But I'm sorry. After watching that Luke Shaw cameo today, yeah, and I rate Luke Shaw. I like Luke Shaw as a left back. I think he's given us decent performances in centre back. But please, he's not a centre back. He is not a centre back. Stop trying to make him into this centre back. I understand that the manager likes players that can play in different roles, different positions. But Luke Shaw is not a centre back. And Luke Shaw is not a centre back. Just because it worked one time against Haaland, it ain't going to work against every other number 9 or any other striker. He got dunked on today. And the reason why I'm talking about Luke Shaw is because I'm not criticising Luke Shaw. I'm criticising the manager. I'm criticising the manager for leaving Rafael Varane. Whatever beef you got with Rafael Varane, I don't understand how deep that beef is. I do not understand how deep that beef is for you to leave him on the bench after that second goal by choice because of your ego. You left him on the bench. I'm sorry, I don't care what's happening between the manager and Rafael Varane behind closed doors. But for the sake of football and for the sake of results and for the sake of performances, there is no way we can continue to allow a makeshift centre-back to play in the back line instead of his preferred position, which is left back, and have Rafael Varane just rotting away on the bench. I don't understand. You know, there's so many stuff that I'm just really annoyed with Erik Ten Hag about. I'm really annoyed about Erik Ten Hag's decisions. I'm really annoyed about it. You know, I feel like Anthony Martial kind of gets scapegoated a lot, yeah? But there was things he was doing today, I was like, this guy can't be serious. But then Rasmus Højlund came on and he was not even any better. Rasmus Højlund was not even any better. So we're complaining about Martial. You bring on his replacement and his replacement makes no goddamn difference. Erik Ten Hag, for me, the biggest problem is his stubbornness. We get overrun in midfield so much. I can't remember what goal it was. I'm thinking it was the second goal. I saw Amrabat way up the pitch. Scott McTominay bursting back, trying to get back because there's no midfielder there. There's nobody there. Why is the manager adamant to not play Kobbie Mainoo Amrabat? This is what I also don't understand. Hannibal plays good one game, never see him again. Kobbie plays well one game, he gets a cameo as a sub and then doesn't get the opportunity to play. I'm sorry. Why can't we see Kobbie and Amrabat play together? Because there's no way it's going to happen at Anfield because the manager, you know, unless he wants to try something new, that's the only way that I can see him going and putting Kobbie and Amrabat together. But I don't see it. Realistically, I don't see him doing that. I feel like the biggest issue with me with Erik Ten Hag, and guys, yeah, I'm trying to back the process. I'm really trying to back the process. But for me, one of the other problems that I have is that Erik Ten Hag, You know, when he came in, it was, you know, his style of football, you know, his ability to work with youngsters, his ability to kind of integrate them into a starting team, make them into a first team player, his style of football, his possession-based football. 12 months, he's abandoned it. He's abandoned it completely. And the thing is like, you can get behind the manager. He would have a lot more people behind him is if we were losing to, you know, big opponents, big competitors. If we were losing to them, but we still had identity. We still had a form of play. We still had a passage of performance. But we don't have that. We don't have that. And it's like, how much longer are we going to sit here and watch? Some of his comments post-game, guys, really shocked me. Like, it's like, I've heard this before, but at this point, it's like the pot calling the kettle black, first and foremost. We could talk about the Bayern game. We can talk about, you know, Anfield. But really and truly, let's talk about Bournemouth, yeah? Never beaten United at Old Trafford. Never kept a clean sheet at Old Trafford. Today, they did both of that. That goalkeeper was fighting for his life. Bro, we had 20 shots on goal, and I think 3 of them were actually on target. So why is the manager then saying, you know, in other press conferences, you know, where we've had 20 plus chances on goal, you know, and he's saying, you know, well, we created chances. We had 3 shots on target. We had 3 shots on target. This forward line that we have, yeah, easily to me, is the worst front line I've ever seen watching Manchester United. In my lifetime of watching Manchester United, this is the worst front line. Put them in a 5-a-side game, they probably still wouldn't win. They are horrible. Let's be real, guys. Let's honestly be real. Rasmus Højlund, yeah, everyone's saying give him time. But for me, it's like, why is the manager choosing to... It's not load management. It's not load management at this point. Because, you know, Martial never offered us, and this is no criticism to Anthony Martial, this is criticism to the manager, is that Anthony Martial never really offered us anything the last few appearances that he's had, bar the Everton game. So why is he starting? We spent 70 million on a striker. You brought him injured. You knew he was injured, and you brought him. And you know what? The board signed it off and allowed him to come in. They allowed you to go and buy injured players. How does that even make sense? And I'm not even going to sit here and go on a rant about, you know, how the club is run and the mismanagement and all of that. But honestly, every player we've brought this summer, bar flipping Onana, who had a flipping howler too today, he was not as good. But to be honest, Harry Maguire, I can't even say Harry Maguire was good because we conceded 3 goals. But the fact that United allowed a manager to go out and buy multiple injured players, yeah, in the last 2 summer transfer windows says a lot. Let's go through some of the comments in his post-match conference, because I always say I look forward to what he says after post games, especially after a loss, because I want to see what he's going to say this time. He said, yeah, I have to take responsibility for it. We are really inconsistent. We have the ability, but we have to do it every game. Now, this is what gets on my nerves, guys, because this is what he does every game. He said this. He said, you need consistency. We can play a very good game against many opponents. We are able to do it, but if you have to do it every 3rd game, get it right, and the demands are of a certain standard. We have to go to a higher standard to deliver every 3rd game. Why does he keep emphasizing on the fact that United play every 3 games? Don't other teams play every 3 games? You know, bar the teams that are not in Europe. But don't our own competitors, Liverpool, they're in Europa League, but they're playing every 3-4 days. Man City, Arsenal, they're all playing every couple days. Brighton are in Europe and playing every 3-4 days. The manager always references playing every 3-4 days and being able to. Okay, so why haven't you got the squad depth for it? We've spent 440 million. Why don't we have the squad depth for it? You know, instead, we're buying players who are injured and adding to our injury list. Sometimes I think injuries are kind of unlucky in it. You can't control circumstances all the time. But a lot of the injuries that players have picked up this season, what are they? Non-contact injuries. Most of them are non-contact injuries every single time. For me, there's some more comments, guys, by the way, that I'm going to get into. Big up to everybody locked in the chat. Please do share your thoughts below. I will read through as many comments as I can. I was going to do a call-in, but I'll probably do a call-in show, obviously, midweek, probably after the Bayern game. So if you want to call in, you can. I'll drop the link in that game. In that stream, priority goes to members. If you want to join members, the member association, you can. The minions, that's what it's called. It's the pinned comment in the chat. You get your badges, you get your emojis, and you get a lot of custom content coming. That's all I have to say. Big up to everybody in the chat. Shout out to Julian, says his transfers are shocking. In-game management piss poor. But we've been saying this since last season. This has been said. This has been pointed out since last season regarding his in-game management. I think last season we got away with it because we were winning. Maybe not at the later end of the season, but definitely, you know, when we were on a run of games where we were picking up results, it was working. Eric Ten Hag is creating a mid-table team and fans are expecting it. Soon fans will be happy for top 2, only in favour of the owners. At what point? Okay, guys, let me do how do I do a poll? Sorry, guys. I'm trying to figure out how to do a poll because are you Eric Ten Hag in? The poll in the chat, guys, is Eric Ten Hag in. So if you're Eric Ten Hag in, press yes. If you're not Eric Ten Hag in, press no. Okay? Because I'd like to gauge it in the chat. And see the results for sure. I'm going to get through some of the comments as well. Big Up to Show says, where I will criticise Eric Ten Hag is picking players that completely go against his principles like McTominay and Maguire. McTominay 36 passes, Maguire 46 passes. I'll be honest, I think Maguire was one of our brighter sparks. A lot of, you know, the first half, United were playing through Maguire. And for me, it's more like, I accidentally hid the poll, but Did I clear the poll, guys? Did I get rid of it? Sorry, do I have to do it again? My bad. You lot know I don't know how to use this YouTube stuff. Let me redo the poll quickly. My bad, guys. My bad. Eric, because I want to gauge it because I did it on Twitter and I think people said it was about 56% said trust the process. Okay, I'll redo the poll. It's back. The poll is back. I didn't realize I ended the poll. Mina using YouTube is like Ten Hag's tactics. Confusing. I'm getting used to it, man. I'm getting used to it, guys. Until the players can be replaced, we need to bring in a mental performance training coach. They need more than that. They need to go to prison. These players need to go to prison. Every single one of them. Selling them ain't enough. We need to put them on an abandoned island and just leave them there. The more they scored, I went from mad to laughing like Walter White in the crawl space scene. You know what it is, guys? I say this all the time. If you don't laugh, you'll cry. Honestly, it gets to a point like that. My mom always says like you're crazy to let football kind of determine your emotions. And you know what? The older I get, my mom was onto something. My mom was absolutely onto something. So sometimes if you don't laugh, you will cry. You know, not even like normal laugh. Not even normal laugh, sorry. You know, like that crazy laugh where you start laughing and people think you're crazy. Have you ever seen someone in a fight, guys, and they're angry and they start laughing? That's the kind of laughing you have to do. That is the kind of laughing that you have to do. Ten Hag isn't good enough for United. He doesn't get enough out of the players. Let's talk about this. Come, let's talk about this. For me, let's talk about Bruno Fernandes. The first and foremost, I'll say. Let's talk about Bruno Fernandes. Most importantly, captain. That is a captain there. That is a captain. Armband on his arm. Getting booked for dissent. I didn't even see what happened, by the way, because when I was watching the game, all I heard was the commentator saying, oh, Bruno's been booked for something off the ball. The goalkeeper was taking a goal kick. The Bournemouth keeper was taking a goal kick. I didn't see what he did or whatever. But the fact that you know what? Casemiro's yellow card against Palace last season, right? That led to him missing the Arsenal game. I respect that. Why? Because he was stopping a goal-scoring threat. Bruno gets booked for dissent to miss. Knowing you're on a yellow card, by the way. Knowing you are on a yellow card. On my life, he is not... I shouldn't blasphemy. I shouldn't swear on my life, firstly. Because I shouldn't swear on anything but God, first and foremost. So let me just clear that up. I don't do blasphemous takes here. But I swear to God, guys. Yeah? I swear to God. I have never seen... we say that Maguire's a bad captain, yeah? We say that Maguire... Who is the worst captain out of the two? Let's be for real, guys. Let's be for real. When it comes to... When we ask for a captain, what do you ask for? You want a player that leads by example, right? You want a captain that leads by example. A player that people can look to. You know, we're 1-0 down. You can look to your captain to motivate you, to uplift you, to drag you through the mud. Isn't that what a captain does? We've had captains at United, guys. Great captains. Amazing captains. Absolutely have gone down as legendary players, yeah? And the last captains that we've had in the last couple seasons, guys, the last couple captains we've had is a joke. It's actually a joke. Because for me, no one out there can tell me, yeah, No one out there can tell me that yellow card was not on purpose. Why? Because he doesn't want to be the face or be part of the face of another manager being sacked. He doesn't want to be that. He don't want to be that. Definitely not on his reign as a captain. So he thought, let me be out of the Liverpool game. At least then, who's everyone going to blame if we lose? When we lose? I don't know. I see people still saying that United are going to smash Liverpool. You know, Liverpool's defense ain't great, but their front line, compared to our front line, I would say we got one of the worst front lines in the league. In terms of stats, in terms of goals scored and chances created, you know, assists. We have one of the worst front lines. And that front line cost us how much money? That front line, forget Rashford, yeah? Because I feel like Rashford will get scapegoated regardless. The guy didn't even have much involvement today, and I'm seeing people criticising him. But Anthony and Rasmus Højlund alone cost us near enough to 160, 170 million. How many goals have they got between them in the Premier League this season? Do they even have any goals between them in the Premier League? Let me see. Does Anthony even have a goal in the Premier League this season? Forget last season, because I know Kudus got the same number of goals as him since he's joined the league. Since he's joined the league, Kudus has better numbers than him. Come, let's see. The moment of... Oh my... No goals! 100 million euros, no goals. 70-something million, no goals. What does 150 million get you at this point for your front line? What does that get you? Anthony Martial, people that are criticising him, at least he scored. At least he put the ball in the back of the net this season. At least he's done that. Scotty too hotty. Let's have a conversation about Scotty too hotty. I'm going to come back to the Bruno talk. I feel interested. It's interesting about Scott McTominay, right? Because the manager, for me, uses him as a goal scorer in games, right? The manager uses him as a goal scorer, as the target guy. I wouldn't mind too much if he was a super sub. You know, 80th minute, you're chasing a goal. Bring him on. It is what it is. We ain't got much. We ain't got much on the bench anyway that's going to flip and change the game. Bring him on. But the fact that you're adamant to play him in this second striker, crash in the box kind of role, leaves us a man down in defensive transitions every single time. Not only that, I'm seeing when Amrabat got the ball, Maguire got the ball, when someone has the ball in the back line, Casper, the friendly ghost, the guy is hiding. The guy don't want to come pick up the ball. I remember when Kobbie Mainoo was playing, when he played his first game this season, we were applauding Kobbie Mainoo for doing the fundamentals and the basics that a midfielder does because we've been deprived of it. At this point, Scott McTominay can find the net quicker than Rasmus Højlund can. Honestly. So why don't you just play him there? Play him there. Remember there was a time when, you know, people compare McTominay. People compare McTominay to Fellaini, yeah? I'm not joking, guys. Give me Fellaini any day of the year. Me and Fellaini, we had a love-hate relationship when we was here, when he was at United. I loved him 1 minute, hated him next minute. But I would absolutely... Scott McTominay ain't nowhere near Marianne Fellaini. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Let me go through some of the comments in the chat. 150 million would get me a mansion and maybe a few Ferraris. Bro, it would get me a helicopter. It would get me a helicopter. 0 goals and Martial the crab has won. Ten Hag just sat there looking clueless. Is Ten Hag out of his depth? Do you guys think Ten Hag is actually out of his depth? Like, let's be honest here. Let's have an honest conversation. Do you think Ten Hag... What is going wrong for Ten Hag? A part of it is obviously the players, but some of it has to be... Some of it is him. He is part of the problem. And I think he could be part of the solution. But for me, his stubbornness... I said this ages ago. And when Ten Hag joined United, guys, I wanted him to do well. I still want him to do well. I'll be very honest. I want him to do well. But today I was like, I don't know how much more I can defend him. I don't know how much more I can defend him. Honestly, like, guys, people keep asking me, are you Ten Hag out? Are you Ten Hag in? I am silent. That's it. I'm silent. That's all you guys have to know. But you don't know I ask questions when it needs to be asked. I think this job could actually be a bit too big for Ten Hag. I actually think this job might be a bit too big for him. And this is no way of me saying he's not a good manager. It's not me saying he's a good man. He's not a good manager. But maybe the job is actually... this job ain't for everyone. Like, one thing I'll say is this job is not for everyone. Big up Kadeem in the chat says Marwan was a boss minnow. He's my legend. He's an Evertonian legend as well. Big up to Red Scare Claire says, Minna, what are these guys tearing it up in training and then shit on game day? The pattern is the same no matter who the manager it seems. What the annoying thing is, yeah, is like it seems like you only get a performance out of these guys when their backs are against the wall. But when you want a consistent run of games, it's inconsistency. It's like the manager said in his post-game comments. And sorry, I didn't actually finish reading it because people are asking him about Liverpool. People are asking him about Bayern, all of that kind of stuff. Bayern lost 5-1 today, but I know for a fact they're probably gonna come out and smash us midweek. Like Tommy T is gonna have them running through the German cold right now as we speak until probably 5 a.m. They are gonna come out and smash us. I'm not kidding. I have more faith in United maybe doing something at Liverpool than Bayern. If I'm being genuinely honest, I have more faith, and that's just me holding on to 0.00001% of faith. 0.001% of faith. But a few more comments from Bruno Fernandes said, everything was lower than the levels in the game before. We just lack consistency, and that's a big part of football. It's really important to be consistent in every game, and we're not. And this is what's pissing me off, guys. This is what really is getting under my skin. Please excuse my language. He and Erik ten Hag both talk about consistency. Forget about consistency. Why can't you just do the basics? Why can't you just do the basics? They talk about playing consistent football. What is this? What is the consistent football? Because when we beat Chelsea, was there an identity there? Was there a style of football there? Or were we just capitalizing on the opponent's lack of ability? Let's be honest. Were we capitalizing on the opponent's lack of ability and the fact that they were all over the place? Yes, United was pressing, but, you know, when they were pressing Bournemouth today, Bournemouth could get out of the press. The only difference was Chelsea couldn't. So it's clear that you are doing stuff consistently. I think it's more about the caliber of players and the ability of these players. Because Bruno Fernandes is coming out and talking after the game. My brother, you got a yellow card for dissent. You got a yellow card for dissent. It's something you didn't even have to do 80-something minutes into the game. All you had to do was not get booked. You're a captain. Why would you not want to lead the team out at one of the biggest away days in the Premier League? When it comes to the Premier League fixture list coming out, people look for when Anfield away. People look for that. They look at the calendar list. They say, oh, Anfield away is this date. City, the derby is this date. Why, as a captain, would you not want to lead your team out at Anfield? What are you ducking? Because the allegations are looking very allegation-y, if you know what I mean. But anyway, that's what Bruno said in the post-game comments. Erik ten Hag, this is, like, for me, you lot know where I stand on the Raphael Varane situation. Ten Hag says he takes responsibility, but really and truly, is he going to change? That's what I want to know. Is he going to change? Is he going... Because my biggest issue with Erik ten Hag, and like I said, guys, I really want him to do well, but sometimes he just does not help himself. And today is an example of him not helping himself. Midweek, we caught life against Chelsea. Any other team, those chances that Chelsea create, capitalise. Chelsea just poor. They're poor. I've seen Chelsea fans today saying that they are even more embarrassed about losing 2-1 to United after seeing the Bournemouth game today. They said they're even more embarrassed. We've given a team that's 10th more shame because we've beaten them, because we've lost to Bournemouth. Oh, at home. At Old Trafford, guys. They've never won there before. They've never clipped a key. They could have had, forget even clean sheet. They could have had, it could have been 5. It could have been 6. It could have been way worse than what the actual result was today. And I feel like, what do we do now? This is how you know it's actually, I'm getting to my breaking point because I'm lost for words. I am actually lost for words. There's only so much I can criticize the manager, and there's only so much I criticize the players. At what point do I just say, and end the season? And you know what's so funny, guys? October the 7th or 6th, I can't remember what it was. If you don't follow me on Instagram, here's my social names. Here's my social names. I posted a picture after the first Galatasaray loss at Old Trafford. Yeah? And I said, wake me up when the season ends. I posted it as a joke. I didn't think 2 months later I would still be feeling the same. I didn't think 2 months later I was still feeling the same. Ten Hag could barely even beat Luton. Not just Luton, even Burnley. even Burnley, Nottingham Forest early in the season, Wolves. Who scored the winner for us? Raphael Varane, who's now rotting away on the bench. Can't even get a sniff. Eric Ten Hag would rather play Luke Shaw there or Johnny Evans or Lindelof. Maybe if none of them are available, he might even put Amrabat there before he plays Raphael Varane. And today is something that I can't get behind. Honestly, today's performance, it was something that I could not get behind in terms of the fact that, Luke Shaw for me, second goal, dunked on. He ain't got the physicality to be jumping in the air against a tall man like that. Raphael Varane should have been lacing up his boots at that point to come on. Whether it means put Luke Shaw at left back. Eric Ten Hag, by the way, guys, is protecting Luke Shaw. Can I just say that? Eric Ten Hag is protecting Luke Shaw? Do you know why? Because the last game he played Luke Shaw at centre-back and he was asked about it in the press conference. I think it was Newcastle game. He was asked about it in the press conference and he said it's a tactical decision to play Luke Shaw there. But also because at left-back, he has to run a lot more. He's protecting him. How many games has Varane missed due to injury? This is always the topic of discussion. But when he's fit, play him. Like, we can talk about when a player's not available because they're out injured. But if they are available, don't we say that the best ability is availability? Right now, he's fit, sitting on the bench. Last week, he was out for illness. I don't buy that. I don't buy that he was out for illness. But if he's fit, give him an opportunity. He hasn't played in the Premier League since we beat Luton 1-0, guys. He has not. He's literally rotting on the bench. Eric Ten Hag would rather play players out of position and play them there. And he uses this whole argument about the left-footed centre-back. Bullshit. That's absolute bullshit. He's fallen out with Raphael Varane. And honestly, if there was no way back for Raphael Varane, cool. Don't include him in the matchday squads then, just because you need a player on the bench. Give the guy some dignity. I'm sure he'd rather you leave him out of the matchday squad because you're just sitting there parading him on the bench when he should be playing. Whether he's had injury problems or not. If the guy is fit at this current time, you play your best centre-backs. It's as simple as that. You play your best players in positions. It's as simple as that. Unless they are having bad form and you drop them. Cool. Understandable. You drop them because of form. But you're telling me right now that you're not playing Raphael Varane because there's other people that play better than him in that position. I'm not buying it. I'm absolutely not buying it. Not forgetting Eric Ten Hag tell us Martial is the future. How? Why isn't Onana being benched? This guy is out of his depth. Big up Pyramid Scheme says, Namin, I told you after we signed Mount that we are finished and here we are. Listen, how's Mason Mount catching us straight? Poor guy. Big up to Nikhil says, it wasn't this bad in Ollie or Ralph's last days. Listen, Ralph Ragnick for me was honestly the worst. I thought that there was a low that we could not surpass. But today we have gone lower. Literally. When Ralph Ragnick I was saying, please let the season end now. I've been asking for the season now to end since October. Since we lost Galatasaray at home, I've been wanting the season to end. Honestly, I'm not joking. I've been wanting the season to end. And now it's just getting worse and worse. Every single game we play. We play one game, we lose. 7 losses, guys, in the Premier League is beyond substandard. Let me tell you guys, yeah, even though there's a lot of teams below us, yeah, we're 6, United are 6th, yeah, because they've won more games, obviously. How many other teams have lost 7 or more games in the league this year? I'll tell you who. Obviously, all the bottom 3 teams. Everton, yeah, who had 10 points deducted and have been in a relegation battle, haven't even lost. They've lost 7 games. United have lost 7 games. We've lost the same number of games as Everton have. Nottingham Forest, Crystal Palace, basically pretty much everybody below us, bar Brighton and Newcastle and West Ham and Chelsea, they've all have not lost anything near as the number that we have. They have not lost anything as near as we have, and yet it's okay. We have a -3 goal difference. We were sitting on a flipping 0 goal difference a few days ago. We were sitting on a 0 goal difference. And today we are sitting on a -3. I'm not kidding, guys. I'm worried. I'm honestly worried. Forget. Everybody talks about, Bayern Munich. We talk about Liverpool. Bro, we're playing Villa. Albeit away, we're playing at home, and their form away from Villa Park isn't as good as their form at home. We're playing West Ham away. At that point, what's gonna happen? Because, excuse me, I don't see us getting a result. Guys, I don't think I've ever been this sad to watch the team. Like, honestly, I don't think I've ever been this sad to watch the team. It sucked the life out. This game, this club this season has taken all the happiness and enjoyment out of me of watching football. Do you know what it reminds me of, guys? Do you know what it reminds me of? This is how I felt when David Moyes was at United. Honestly, this is how I felt when David Moyes was at United. I hated watching United. I hated watching football in general. I did forget even watching United much. I barely watched any football that year because I did not enjoy watching football. And now I'm going down the same kind of roller coaster. I'm going down the same type of roller coaster. It's 1 minute it's high, 1 minute it's low. It's like the lowest points is lower than any other lower point that we've been at with any other manager. Honestly. Big up to Gaz says this is worse than Moyes. Damn. You lot saying is worse than Moyes. The end of the Oli era was brutal too. But the thing is, the end of the Oli era was how many years into his time? We are 18 months into it. Not even 18 months into this. We are a season, not even half a season. We're not even half a season. Big up to everyone that's locked in. Be sure to hit the like button, guys. Be sure to hit the like button. I swear if this was Fergie's early season, this fan base would have got him the sack. I see this discourse a lot. I think this is probably the discourse that I see the most. I feel like the times of football have definitely changed. The cycle of football has definitely changed. United are not the only club to go through managers, guys. United are not the only top European club that has gone through managers in the last 10 years. It's just that United's lows have been lows. They've been lows. Like some of them other managers have had highs. Tommy T had highs at Chelsea. He had lows at Chelsea. Just the fact that he had highs that kind of overshined the lows. Why? Because I know when Thomas Tuchel got sacked at Chelsea, I know so many Chelsea fans that were absolutely distraught that he got sacked. Why? Because he brought them silverware. He brought them major trophies. He brought them a major trophy. So they could get behind it. They could get behind him, right? I feel like the issue right now with Erik ten Hag is that I feel like fans might feel like there's nothing to get behind. They feel like there's nothing to get behind. Why? Because we see performances like this. We see issues with the manager and players. The manager's falling out with players left, right, centre. He's falling out with players left, right, and centre. People are not sufficiently pleased with the standard of football by the club. Yeah? And this is based on conversations that I've had with so many different people that are United fans, right? Now, that's the second point. The third point is the manager has brought in players, his own players. The manager has brought in his own players. Let's be honest, guys. I don't think Casemiro was his signing. I think that was the marquee signing they needed to do last summer because De Jong weren't coming. They needed a midfielder. Clearly, United got a habit. Why do United have a habit of selling our better players to Real Madrid and then we take their deadwood? It seems like that inevitably that's what happens, but they've got a relationship there. Erik ten Hag, for me, has enough of a CV to coach a team. We've seen it. We've seen it. So why can't he do it here? That's my question. And I want Ten Hag to succeed. I want him to succeed at the club. But when he says, like today after the game, he said, I take responsibility. But are you realizing what you're doing wrong? Or do you feel like you've not done anything wrong and you've set the players up well enough to perform and get a result? That's what I want to know. If I had the chance to sit down with him, honestly, that's what I would ask him. Do you feel like you're setting the team up sufficiently to get results? And on top of that, do you feel like they're letting you down? Because if that's the case, are you identifying the issue? Are you identifying the issue at large? Scott McTominay, for me, the goals that he's scored this season has saved points for United. So does the manager feel indebted to him? Does the manager feel like he owes him something where he has to give him playing time? Why? Because there might be a slight possibility he might score. When we went 1-0 down, did the manager feel like McTominay could bring us back into the game? Because he's done it for 2 games. And that's where I think is the shortcomings of the manager. Because Scott McTominay, for me, maybe if you've got him in this new little role that you're playing him in, that has worked a few times. It's worked a few times in games. It's saved us points. But is it worth being one less player in transition, in defensive transition? Is it worth being caught out in possession because a midfielder is not making himself available to pick up the ball from the back line? Is it worth that? Is it worth the misplaced passes? Is it worth that? Today I could go on and on about everyone on the pitch. I could talk about every player. Dalot did something stupid. Yeah, Dalot did something so dumb before we conceded. I think it was the 3rd goal that we conceded. Where instead of going for a cut back in the box, the guy, he saw his name in lights. He saw how many goals does he have at United, and he thinks it's appropriate as a fullback to shoot rather than for him to find the striker or one of the attackers. But anyway, he went for goal. What happened? Counter. United scored. United conceded, sorry. And I feel like the decision making today is pants. It's actually pants. And it's not just today, guys. It's actually it's been throughout the entire season kind of thing. Big up to Sidar says, the question is that he does not have the same support he had at Ajax. I'm talking about the footballing people above him. He is actually alone, just like previous managers. That's why they all fell. That's a very valid point. That's a very valid point because, it was reported that, when he joined United, he asked for involvement in terms of signing players, etc. Whereas at Ajax, that wasn't really his role. He had Overmars, he had Van der Sar, he had people that knew what they were doing. And what was his job? His job was to coach the team and the players that they brought in, and also for him to bring through the players from the academy. That was his job. It was simple as that, and he was able to do it in the Dutch league. He came over here to a club that has no footballing structure. And the sad thing is even if United get this footballing structure that Sir Jim Ratcliffe is promising so much, and, that they're going to come through with regarding Ineos's takeover, he might not even be here to see it. He might not even be here to see it. It's actually interesting. And you know what? I think he's a good coach. But I think what lets him down is his man management. And, United is not the first place that he's had issues with players, guys. Let's be for real. United is not the first place that him and players have fell out. Let's keep it a buck with each other. But you coach United. You're the manager of United. You are going to get a lot more scrutiny for what you do wrong. And the praises will be very minimal when you get things right. So what do you have to do? Just keep getting praise. You need to keep doing well. But United, unfortunately, we've not been lucky to do that this season. It's very unfortunate, but we've not been able to do that. We had such a good season last year in terms of what we expected, and we haven't been able to build on that. And for me, that's just basically saying it's 2 steps forward and then 1 step back. Or it's 1 step forward and 2 steps back. Whichever way you want to do it. Whichever way you kind of want to say it. It's 1 step forward and 2 steps back. And I'm going to talk about a few of the players because I don't think I can let Bruno go so easily. I know United lost 3-0. I know they conceded 3 goals. But I just think that what Bruno did, even though it didn't directly impact the game, for me, it's just substandard levels of professionalism. There's no way, firstly, he didn't know that he was on one yellow away from a ban. Let's be for real. He knew that he was one yellow away from a ban. It's not a secret. Let me see what the polls actually say, and I want to see the results. I'm an idiot. I just pressed end poll, but it said 60-something% was saying no. In terms of you don't want Erik ten Hag in. About Bruno Fernandes, he's not captain for me. He's not my captain. He can't be. Bruno Fernandes cannot be the captain of Manchester United if we want to take it to new heights. And you know what, guys? I will die on this hill. I will always die on this hill. I said it on United View last season, and I said that, if Qatar, at the time, Sheikh Jassim, I said, if they come in, the first player they're going to get rid of is Bruno because he is not sustainable. His type of football is not sustainable for elite level of footballing. And today just actually showed it. It just showed the basic fundamentals of that. We can sit here and go in on Erik ten Hag. But Erik ten Hag, for me, the only thing he could have done was taking Bruno off. You're 3-0 down. What's the worst thing gonna happen? What's the worst gonna happen basically if Bruno comes off? Yeah, but he kept him on. Okay, understandable. Why? Because he probably trusts his captain to be responsible. He probably trusts his captain to be responsible, and his captain has a moment of lapse that happens quite often in games. It happens quite often in games. Let's be real. His moment of lapses happens. He has irrational thoughts run through his brain. Yeah, it happens. And it costs us. What he did today did not cost us directly in the Bournemouth game because we were already in the mud. But what's it done? It's costed you for the next game. A big game. Like I said earlier in the stream, if you compare to me what Bruno did today and what Casemiro did last season to miss the Arsenal game, I respect what Casemiro did 10 times more because he stopped a goal. It wasn't a clear-cut goal opportunity, but we don't know what would have happened because I think it was Eze that he brought down. I can't remember, but he took him out. And you know what? He took the yellow card. It is what it is. 80th minute, United were up at that point. Bruno, for me, 3-0 down. You ain't coming. We are not coming back from 3-0 down. Half the stadium has left. Yeah, half the stadium has left. They are booing the players off at half-time. At what point does it get even more toxic than this? Do you say, okay, we really need a restart? Not only do we need a restart, we need a total restart. Just abort mission, start again. You know, FIFA settings. What I do on FIFA when I restart a game after when I'm losing. Just do that. Abort mission, start again. Clean slate. Not just a clean slate. New manager, new players. You know what, guys? Like I said, I want Erik ten Hag to succeed so well, but sometimes he shoots himself in the foot with his decision making, and it's difficult to support that. It's difficult for me to justify it. Honestly, it's difficult for me to justify it. I would love to hear Marcel's thoughts on it. I would love to hear what Marcel thinks. I actually might ask him to do. Should we do it, guys? Should I get Marcel should I get Marcel on later this evening? Because I would like to see what he thinks. Let me see if he's at the game. I don't know if he's at the game. I don't know if he went to the game today. I don't think he did. Did you go to the game today? If not, let me. I'm gonna lie to him and say I'm Erik ten Hag out. I'm gonna say I think he's done. Rash's mental health will crumble with these boos. I think all the players it'll be difficult. I think all of them. I think all the players will be difficult, but at this point, what do you do? What do you do at this point? I'm sorry, as a fan, match day going fans that are going game in, game out watching this. What you see people not giving 100%. You see it. Actually, it might be a blessing in disguise. It might mean we play Amrabat and Maino with Scott in cam. I don't think so. I feel like the manager will still find a way to not do that. Honestly, I feel like he will still find a way to not do that. He might even put Rashford there. I wouldn't be surprised if he puts Rashford there. Sidaf says, not even footballing people, we don't have a good medical team. Imagine not having a doctor since February. Injuries are also part of this downfall. I'm sorry, yeah. I get this point of medical staff. But why is it taking so long? Your medical doctor left however long ago. Why is it taking so long for that person to be replaced? Especially as they don't leave abruptly, by the way. The backroom staff don't leave abruptly. They hand in a notice. Normally it's 3 months, 6 months. So if you knew your medical staff was leaving, I'm sorry, you're telling me United can't have a good medical team? One of the best teams. So now are we saying that the medical team is underfunded? No, I didn't say Rashford. Sorry, I didn't say Rashford in DM. I meant Rashford in Bruno's position. Play Scotty a bit deeper and playing Rashford as a second striker kind of thing. I could see it. I can see that. I can see that happening. Liverpool has the ability to suck United managers whenever we play them in December. It's always 4-0, 6-0. And it's always when the manager's fighting for his life to keep his job. It is always when the manager is fighting for his life, trying to keep a job. Trying to keep a job every time. It's like clockwork. It's like clockwork. Guys, where do we go from here? Honestly. Honest to God. Let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it a buck. Where do we go from here? I'm gonna put my Twitch guys in the chat. Be sure to subscribe. I'm only 2 followers away from 50 followers on Twitch, and I'm trying to get there before the end of tomorrow. So if you guys have Twitch, follow me on Twitch, because I'll be streaming there later tonight, gaming stuff, because I don't want to talk about football anymore. Follow me on Twitch. I honestly, for me, like, I enjoy talking about football, but soon I'm gonna get to a point where I don't want to talk about it anymore, because it's gonna be that upsetting, and that depressing. At what point do you think? Let's go, guys. Big up. Someone just followed me, so shout out. We're only 1 follower away now from 50. And I play Call of Duty there, and I play with followers, subscribers, all that kind of stuff. So we can run it up together. We do what we always do, Mina. We get a new manager and try and win the league. Let's be for real, guys. Let's be for real. Who comes in and steadies the ship? Who, right now, and this is why I say that I don't understand when people say, whenever people are Ten Hag out and I say, well, who would you want in replacement? Everyone says Ancelotti. That's it. Like, as if he's the only manager that exists out there. Because people don't actually know what other manager will come in and steady the ship if they can. Because there's not really any elite managers that are available out there. And even if they are, who would touch this job? Honestly. Especially with because inevitably, a manager will come in, try and steady the ship for a season or 2, and the players start doing this, and bam, back to square one. We're back to square one. And that's what's happened. Players let the manager down all the time. Is it a case of, the manager isn't sustainable and he's not good enough, and the manager, hasn't got the quality and the tactical quality? Or is it that he's not got the players? Because I saw a comment saying that he can't play, like he doesn't have the players. Let me double check where the exact quote. Because he said something like he doesn't have the players to play how he wants. Does anybody remember him saying that? I can't remember if... It was a couple of weeks ago. It was a couple of days ago, sorry, that he said that he doesn't have the players to play the way he wants. And again, this is why I understand why people want the manager out. Because you spent 440 million. What do you mean you don't have the players to play how you want? Do you guys think Ten Hag might resign before being sacked? That's a good question. It's one of them ones where, is he stubborn enough to think that he won't get the sack and that he can keep doing this? Or does he swallow his pride and say, let me jump off before the ship basically sinks? Because what's going to happen if he leaves, guys? Inevitably, if Ten Hag leaves and an interim comes in, yeah? Or a temp takes over the job, new manager bounce. That didn't really happen with Ragnick, but it happened with Oli. And that's how Oli ended up with the job. I could see Ten Hag resigning, like agreeing to part ways. But one thing I will say is I don't think he will do it before the Liverpool game. If that Liverpool game goes left, I think he will do it. If that Liverpool game goes left, I think he will part ways. He will leave. I think he will resign. But I don't think he will do it before that. Because essentially that's him doing a Bruno, basically saying that before the big game, before the big moment, where people are saying this is literally your job is on the line at this point, and you're saying, let me just jump ship. Let me just jump ship before those games. And I think that would make it even worse. I think Ten Hag is stubborn enough to say, I can turn this around. I can do it. Because you want a manager to do that. You want a manager to be able to do that. To be like, to believe in themselves, to have faith in themselves. But at what point do you say is faith and it's belief? And at what point do you say it's absolute delusion? Because 7 losses in the Premier League is not good enough. Guys, fun fact, I saw a stat after the game. In the 10 years that Sir Alex Ferguson has retired, United have lost more games than in the 26-year reign of him. Can you believe that? United have lost more games in 10 years than they did in 26 under Sir Alex Ferguson. How can that be a real stat? How can that be 2.5 decades? Someone just followed me on Twitch. Big up, big up. But 2.5 decades, Sir Alex Ferguson lost a number of games. And in 10 years, they've passed that. They've surpassed it already. United have lost 7 this season. I don't even know what we've lost in all competitions. The fact that we are sitting rock bottom of Champions League. We have won only 1 game. Guys, we're sitting rock bottom of Champions League. Do you know how embarrassing that is? Do you know how... I don't think anyone's really deep in the fact that we're about to go out in the group stages having only won 1 game. Having won only 1 game. We're about to walk out of the group stages having won 1 game and sitting rock bottom along the likes. Copenhagen and Galatasaray likely will finish above us. Likely will finish above us in the Champions League. Champions League, that's where the best of the best play. That was a place. That was United's playing field once upon a time. People were scared to play United in Champions League. Big up to the person that just followed me on Twitch as well. I think I've reached the 50 mark. Big up to everyone. You're going to be in for a treat of Call of Duty tonight. I'm going to take my anger out on Warzone. You guys know what it is. But back to the point. Obviously, we can sit here and talk about Premier League. We could talk about Premier League. Big up to JP. Appreciate the follow, of course. And I think someone else said it as well in the chat. Big up Paramount says, followed you on Twitch. Big up to the minions. Big up, guys. I appreciate it. Listen, there was a question that somebody just asked in the chat that I'd like to go back to. Here it is. Question from Julian says, do you think it's a coincidence that top 5 salaries are on the way out of the club from Ronaldo to Sancho, David De Gea, Varane? I think this is done on purpose. It can't be coincidence. I've seen people having this conspiracy theory saying Ten Hag is doing the Glazers a favour, trying to offload these players. Not just Varane, by the way, Casemiro as well. But then again, it kind of... I don't know, because you then given Rashford a 300k salary plus bonus. You've given Mason Mount a 250k plus bonus salary. So the players that you've brought in, Onana, Anthony, etc., the players that you've brought in now over the last 18 months, you've given them big salaries. It might not be as big as what Ronaldo was on, or, David De Gea, but it's still big salaries. So I don't know. People have this conspiracy that Ten Hag is doing the Glazeronomics kind of thing. He's doing them a favor, trying to get them off the books. But I'm not 100% sure about that. Ten Hag is turning out to be the worst manager since Sir Alex retired. Damn. In a list of Eric Ten Hag, Jose Mourinho, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Louis van Gaal, and David Moyes. Permanent managers. 5 managers. Permanent managers, guys. Who is the worst? Who is the worst? Because I think from a playing style perspective, I think Van Gaal was the best, because he had Van Gaal, big up to the person that just followed me on Twitch, guys. I'm going to keep saying it every time I hear the alert. But Van Gaal, for me, had a style of football that he wanted to play. It was evident. It's evident in the Netherlands team. It was evident in, United. It didn't work out, but it was evident. Jose Mourinho, for me, was just he got his job on a basis of he's one of the best managers of the generation of that era. So I think inevitably he was available. United were going to go for him. Ole, for me, should have never got the job. It was a fun 3 months, guys. That December to March period of when he was interim, vibes, pure vibes. I will be the first to say it myself. That PSG game, never forget it. But it was never sufficient for him to keep the job. It was never sufficient. Bear in mind, Thriller mentions it here. Mourinho was the best. He got 81 points. Mourinho said that it was a miracle for him to finish second with that team that he had. What year was that? Because I want to see who's still here. Obviously, I don't think a lot of them are still here, but I think some of them are still here. Jose Mourinho, 2nd place, United. What season was that? It was that 2017-18 season. Let me see who was in that squad. Man United 17-18 season. Why is it showing me this season's players? Cool. Let's see who's still there. Probably is Shaw, Martial, and Rashford. Yeah, someone says it in the chat. It's probably Shaw, Martial. Lindelof, he's still here. Obviously Luke Shaw, Scott McTominay, still here. A lot of these people have only left in the last year or two. But again, they were the players that had some of the most appearances, you know. Marcus Rashford, Anthony Martial, Luke Shaw played a lot under all of them. Victor Lindelof, he was there. A lot of the people on this list, guys. Sam Johnston, Crystal Palace keeper now. But a lot of these players, by the way, only left in the last year or two. That shows that United have taken that long to offload them. Jose Mourinho said it was a miracle to finish in the position that he did with that team. He said it was a miracle. And people laughed at him. Eric Ten Hag can't even get these boys right now to fourth. He can't even get these boys to fourth. Ten Hag is similar to Van Gaal. The first season was okay with lots of transfers in 2 windows. 1 trophy, injuries and board issues being the problem. Van Gaal even asked Ten Hag to not come here. I think it might go back to, you know, the understanding, like the Dutch characteristics versus, you know, the British ones. I feel like Dutch people, for me, they're good managers. You know, Van Gaal, I think like if Ten Hag does leave United and he goes back to Ajax or he gets another job in a different league, he might have a good spell there. And it might just be that the Prem was not for him and he couldn't adapt to it. Same with Louis van Gaal. Doesn't mean that, you know, Louis van Gaal was a bad manager. In terms of footballing style and identity, I think Louis van Gaal was the best out of all of them because he had an identity. You know, you could see it in the way that United were playing, We might not have liked the way that he played, but he had an identity. And I think that's the most important thing when you come in. Eric Ten Hag was brought in for Arsenal lost. I can't even laugh, guys. I was saying this morning, I hope they laugh. And I was all on a hype and all of that stuff. I can't even laugh. Why? Because we got bigger problems. We got bigger problems on our front door right now. And it's not Arsenal losing. It's not Arsenal dropping points. I said I was a part-time fan earlier on the show. They got the job done. Did they just lose 1-0? I mean, I can't laugh. Because, the laughing that Arsenal can do to us is much worse than the laughing that we can do to them. And Liverpool's first as well in the league. I don't even want to dwell on that too much. But, you know, back to the point about the managers. Eric Ten Hag was brought in because he was, he had a philosophy, a style of football. You know, he was known to nurture academy players, bring them into the first team. And he hasn't done any of that. He has, except for Kobe and Garnacho, he's brought 1 player per season from the academy into the first team. He spent a load of money, nearly half a billion. He spent nearly $500 million, guys. I don't think we're deep in that. He spent nearly $500 million. $500 million, guys. And we're basically saying to him, here's another 200 million in the summer, go spend that. We're saying go spend that. Go sign more players. I think this is why a lot of people kind of have issues with the manager and the identity and the way that the players the way that the manager is handling this club and the situation. I get it. I totally understand. But for me, I believe. I believe in him. I know he can. You can't. He can. He can turn it around. I just don't know if, honestly, guys, I'm joking, but I don't know if he can turn it around. I feel like it might have reached a breaking point. It might have reached a breaking point. It's scary. Villa are so good, and we got them in a few games. What is it? Boxing Day. I think it's Boxing Day that we're playing. Is it Boxing Day? I think it's an 8 p.m. kickoff that we're playing them. And we're playing them. And it's not going to be an easy one. It's definitely not going to be an easy one. Should I even bother, guys, doing the 3 things we've learned after this game? There was no point in me doing it after the Newcastle game. I don't see the point on doing it right now, honestly. Can Villa do a Leicester? I think they could, but they have to be consistently good. Like, they need to keep this form at home. They have to keep the form at home. And they have to go and get wins away from home. Imagine they come to Old Trafford and they get a result. Imagine I'm saying that they have to win away from home and they come into Old Trafford and they get a result. The energy of Leon Bailey right now is crazy. He's probably one of the most informed players right now. And he's got Diaby benched. He's got Diaby coming off the bench. Ollie Watkins another goal scorer that's on form. That's another goal scorer on form. Big up to Joe in the chat. Says, Mina, are you streaming Man United women tomorrow? Big up to you. I'm going to watch them live in the flesh. So there will be a match day vlog tomorrow night. So I'll be, and then there will be a podcast out probably the next morning as well. At least the women, please. I hope United women do something. I hope United women do something for me. I'm not joking, guys. Because 2 losses, I don't think I can handle 2 losses this weekend. The best playing style was Van Gaal's first season. The best season since Sir Alex Ferguson was Mourinho's first season. Ten Hag last season nailed it. Always the first season. Even Oli did it in his first season. What are you saying? We should just get one player every season. One manager, sorry, for every season. And that way they got new manager bounce every time. We shouldn't be deep in it because it ain't deep. Martinez is injured. Casemiro is injured. Mount is injured. Malacia is injured. Eriksen is injured. All due respect, I don't know what Malacia is doing on that list. All due respect to Dead and Gone. I respect your opinion. But Malacia should not be on. Okay, Martinez, I understand. Casemiro, I understand. Malacia should not be on that list. Why? Because Malacia was a rotational player last season. United went and got Reguilon on a loan. So even if Malacia was still fit, would he even be playing? Today, Reguilon was getting up and down that pitch. Malacia would have got dunked on at the back post. He would have got dunked on the back post. My guy's like 5 foot. He's like 5 foot. Eriksen, okay, cool. But Eriksen, again, is a liability in defensive transition. How many goals have we conceded or nearly conceded when Eriksen is defending? Mason Mount ain't seen enough of him in a United shirt to feel like, he's a big loss. Martinez and Casemiro, okay, cool. Casemiro, for me, this season, questionable. He's been questionable when he's played. But Lisandro Martinez, for me, I think is probably the biggest absence for the manager. I think especially this whole playing out of the back way. This whole playing out of the back that we're so adamant that the manager wants to do, and we brought the goalkeeper for it and all of that. I feel like when you rely on one defender to do that, then that is a problem. Because once that defender drops, once that defender's injured, if he's out suspended, whatever it is, you've lost your identity of playing out from the back. Why? Because your other players can't play out from the back. Okay, so either teach them how to play out of the back, or go and buy players that can play out of the back. We could have went into... Be for real, guys. Be for real, yeah? Let's be for real. United have needed a midfielder for so long, right? We spent 60 million on Mason Mount, and we are yet to reap the benefits of that signing. So, had United gone out and brought a centre-back instead that can play out from the back, whoever it is that the team wanted to buy, would you have been against it? Because right now, we haven't even reaped the benefits of Mason Mount. If there is any benefits, we haven't reaped it. So we've wasted 60 million. If the manager is so adamant to play out from the back and you need defenders to do that, sacrifice a midfield signing in the summer and go out and get a centre-back. Why? Because your centre-back, Lisandro Martinez, has just come back from injury. There's no way that he might stay fit throughout the entire season. Didn't take too long for him to aggravate his injury again. So play it smart. Mason Mount isn't a player. I'll be honest. As much as I say that, I always say this, that I'm waiting on Mount to I want to criticise him when he's had a fair shot in the team. But Mason Mount isn't the guy that you put all your stocks in. That's not a player that's not a midfielder even that you put all your stocks in. If that was Frankie de Jong, guys, I wouldn't be saying that. Why? Because Frankie de Jong would have immediately improved our team. But the fact that Mason Mount has played this season and we ain't seen no benefit, and he's not played and it's no different, it kind of says a lot. It means we've wasted 60 million. And I'll go back to emphasize my point, guys. I want to give players a sufficient amount of time before I criticize them. But I think it's fair to question it. I think it's very fair to question the manager. I think it's very fair to question the type of signings we've made. You know, we've got a striker that can't find the back of the net in the Premier League. If you were watching my stream earlier today, I've scored more goals in a Premier League stadium than Rasmus Højlund has. If you watch my stream this morning, you know what that is in reference to. So, you know, we could have gone for a goal scorer, proven goal scorer. Instead, we took a risk with a young player that has the potential to come, but I'm tired of potential. I feel like at United right now, and in the last couple of years, what we've needed is not stars, but people that are in 100% in their ability. We're not looking at their potential of what they can be in 2 seasons' time. You know, we're not looking at what they can be depending on the pieces that we put around them. We're not looking at that. We needed to look at signing a full out proven player, a player that can do. And for me, it's like, you look at the signings this year, and there's not one signing that United have made in the summer. Yeah, there's not one signing that United have made in the summer that has made a difference this season. There's not one signing. And no one say to me, Andre Onana. No one say that to me. How many players did we sign this summer? Amrabat, for me, is just about getting a run of games right now. Sufyan Amrabat is just about getting a run of games. Rasmus Højlund, Mason Mount, Reguilon, Onana. None of them has made a direct impact. None of them have made a direct change, have really impacted the club directly. Instead, they've just fallen into the hole with all these other players that were here from previous seasons. Ten Hag wanted Kane, but the club, notably Murtough, refused to bid as he felt United had no chance. Don't blame Erik Ten Hag when it comes to not getting Kane. Yeah, I agree. I agree. I remember them saying, I remember reading an article on The Athletic, and they were saying that the data recruitment team basically had a bunch of stats of different strikers, and basically Rasmus Højlund had the highest potential when they went based off data analytics. Big up to Jack, says, of course you have to question the manager, but now is not the time to question the manager. Now is the time to look for replacements, for crying out loud. I think Jack is saying that the manager's got to go. Frankie de Jong ain't signing for United. Glad he dodged a bullet, but he'd be the one in a lone six. Get this bold fraud out. Big up to Adam, says he hasn't helped himself as well. Vitality says they should have brought a cheap British player and bench him to tick the homegrown box. There was no need to waste that money on Mount. Dead and Gone says, blame the business people who are incapable of negotiating for players without being rinsed, not Erik Ten Hag. Anana, Alte, we ain't even seen him. Evans, how could I forget Evans? Reguilon, Amrabat, Mount, Højlund, and Maino from the academy. And please don't defend Ten Hag that this is not his signings. He wanted them all and he still doesn't use them or know how to get the best out of them. Out of all the signings that Ten Hag has brought, or all the signings that have come in under the Ten Hag regime, or, under his tenure, I think Casemiro is probably the only one that I would say is probably not his signing. And the only reason why I'm saying Casemiro is probably not his signing is because that was a position United have needed to kind of strengthen for a while. But Ten Hag spent so long chasing Frankie de Jong. After the two fat losses that we took against Brighton and Brentford, I feel like the leadership just went into panic and said, let's just go buy a proven winner in Casemiro. Casemiro, I don't think he wanted to leave. I don't think he wanted to leave Real Madrid, but the bid came in for 70 million, so inevitably they sold him. But I think everyone else that Ten Hag has brought is his signings. I genuinely think that is his signings. Anthony, Malacia, Martinez, Mount. I think Mount 100% is a Ten Hag signing. Ten Hag has even said that Mason Mount he was an important part of what he's trying to build at United. If you guys watched Mount's reveal when he joined the club and they were talking to the manager said that Mason Mount is one of the best young players in the Premier League that is a proven winner because he's won Champions League and he knows the league very well and he's a key part of what United are trying to build. So I agree with this. A lot of these players are his signings. A lot of them are actually his signings. He did also say he didn't have the same impact he thought he would. So two things can be right at the same time, I guess. People act like Erik Ten Hag doesn't does the budget and the buying. Do you think that Erik Ten Hag's first choice centre mid was Amrabat? Do you think that Erik Ten Hag really wanted to keep Maguire this season? I feel like you prioritise. I think, firstly, Amrabat wasn't the midfield signing for Ten Hag. It was the 60 million Mason Mount. It was the 60 million Mason Mount. That was Ten Hag's midfield signing. And for me, it's like you go out and spend that much money on a midfielder that has not impacted the team immediately and had injury problems and got a triple. His salary tripled, guys, when he came from Chelsea to Manchester United. His salary tripled when he came from Chelsea to Manchester United. He was on like 80k at Chelsea, I think. Even less than that. And now he's on 250. He's on 250. I think the manager has had... Ten Hag has been failed in some instances in the transfer window. He wanted a Todibo. He wanted a Kim Min-jae. He ended up with Johnny Evans. But brother, you're the one that chose to spend 70 million on a striker, 60 million on a midfielder, 100 million euros the year before that on a winger, 50, 60 million on a goalkeeper. You've spent money in places. You've just probably not spent it right, I would say. Because if an integral part, this is my point, guys. If an integral part of building up from the back is your backline and is your defenders, then you go out and make that backline 10 out of 10 before you go to other positions. I'll be honest, guys, and I've said this so many times. I would not have got rid of De Gea last season. And the reason why I say that is because if I had to pick, and I've said it so many times last season, even at the end of the season, even in the summer, I was saying it, it was getting toxic, but De Gea showed that he could do the basics right? And this is not me like going back on history or all that kind of stuff. But if that goalkeeper money that we spent on Onana could have gone to another position, and then we could have brought a goalkeeper next summer, okay, cool. Because why am I seeing that we're now being linked to Mike Mannion? Now we're being linked to Mike Mannion after we've just brought a goalkeeper. So if we're still at the same position, i.e. going back into the summer transfer window to look for a keeper after we just spent 60 million on one, take that 70 for Rasmus and that 60 for Onana, or that 70 for Rasmus and that 60 for Mount, buy Harry Kane. Because why? What are we complaining about right now? Our striker cannot find the back of the net in the Premier League. He can't do that. He's struggling. Let's call it what it is. He is struggling. People will come out and say, yeah, oh, they're not creating for him. I've seen him have quite a few chances. Let's be for real. He's had a few chances. The only reason why people are not going that in on him is because we've seen people on the right and the left that are just not crossing it in, not finding him. But sometimes the runs he makes doesn't help. It doesn't help. I just feel like there's a lot of, where there's praise, there's criticism. Where there's praise, there's criticism. Every manager misses out on players they want is not good enough excuse. So Alex Ferguson missed out on Ronaldinho, Del Piero, etc. if he still won trophies. Imagine Ronaldinho in United. That would have been mad. That would have been crazy if Ronaldinho was at United. We're not getting Mannion. You're believing Twitter rumours. I'm just going off of what I see in it about reports and videos that I'm watching. What, you don't rate Højlund, Mina? I do rate him. Am I the only one that's concerned about him struggling to hit the ground running in the Premier League? Like, let's be honest here, guys. Let's be honest. Am I the only one that's actually a bit concerned about him not really? But then again, guys, like I said at the beginning of this stream, this is the shittest, excuse my language, because I don't swear much on here, but this is the crappiest front line I've ever seen in my life at United. This is the worst front line that I've ever seen in my life at Manchester United. And don't say to me, go back to the 70s or the 60s, because I wasn't born then. I wasn't alive, yeah? But for the time that I've been watching football and supporting this club, this front line has to be the most substandard front line that I've ever seen. And Rasmus Højlund is a part of that. He's a part of that. We had Weghorst. You forgetting? No, I'm not forgetting. But fortunately for Weghorst, Rashford was bagging goals. So nobody was... I'm criticising the front line as an entirety, guys. And unfortunately, Rasmus falls into that. Rashford falls into that. Martial falls into that. What's his name falls into that. Anthony falls into that. Garnacho. They can have individual brilliances in game, but as an entirety, as a front line, guys, please look at the front lines in other teams. Please, let's be rational here. Look at the front lines in other teams. Look at Newcastle. You can't tell me that Anthony Gordon, Alexander Isak, and Almiron are getting more in the Premier League and doing better than what our front line's doing. Actually, I can, because they're good players. They're actually good players. But my point is look at all these clubs that have good front threes. And then look at us. Anthony's got 12 appearances in the Prem. No goals. Garnacho has a goal or two. We've got probably less than 5 goals across our front line, guys. We've got about less than 5 goals. Rashford got 2 goals. Yeah, Martial got 1 goal. Who else? Garnacho got what? 1 or 2 goals? I think it is. That's about it. That's about it across our front line. Across our front line, please let's be responsible here. Let's have a responsible discussion and a responsible debate. We can talk about, someone mentions it here, I think, when we played James and Langer on the wings, we was just as bad. Were we as bad as this? Like, be for real. Let's be for real. Were we as bad as this? Because I remember Dan James getting some goals. I remember him getting some assists. One thing I will say is the Ragnick era, I deleted that from my brain. That doesn't exist in my brain. That, honestly, guys, I'm not joking. That does not exist in my brain. You can be selective in it with your memory. I'm selective with my memory. That does not exist in my brain. But this front line for me is a very scary front line. Today, for example, guys, I'll give you an example, not just today, but even, over the last couple games, I'm seeing 20 shots on goal. 20 shots on goal. 3 on target. What the hell do they work on in shooting practice? I'm sorry. How bad, guys, how bad was Jadon Sancho in practice, If these men can still come out and play week in, week out, and they can't even hit the target. Forget even a goal. 20 shots and 3 on target is, for me, substandard. That's mediocre. That is mediocre. At what point do you say, what the hell are they doing? What the hell are they doing in training sessions? Let's be for real. What are they doing in training sessions? We can sit here and talk about the midfield. We can talk about the goalkeeper. But I don't think a lot of criticism goes on that front line as it should. As it should. Our front line, what are they working on in training? And this goes back to the coaching staff. What are the coaching? Benny McCarthy last season, was getting all the praise. Benny McCarthy was getting all the praise for Rashford's resurgence, because they were saying that blame Benny McCarthy. Literally, as I started talking about Benny McCarthy, Adele mentions it in the chat. Benny McCarthy was getting all the praise last year for working with Rashford. What the hell is going on this season? What is going on this season? Alanga Cooking, man, are saying 3 goals this season, so 3 goals is the United standard now. But 0 goals is not. We got wingers that are on 0 goals. We got forwards that are on 0 goals. Alanga at least is finding the back of the net. It's not consistent. And don't get me wrong, I feel like Alanga was right player, wrong time. I think he would have worked in a system, but he wants to play consistent football. I don't blame him. Every player, if you're a professional footballer, I think you should aspire to want to play consistent football. So I respect that he got the cojones to be like, I want to play regularly. I respect that. The only reason why you said our front line is bad is because of the results. On paper, Newcastle's front line is not as good as ours, but yet they dominated us. Why? Because they have an elite manager. That's an interesting point. I think the thing is with Newcastle, and Eddie Howe gets a lot of praise for it, is because, they've got a style of play that you see regardless of who plays. Obviously they lost to Everton, but them kind of performance, them kind of results happen, especially when you've got a thin squad because of injuries. But Newcastle fans will probably overlook that. Why? Because they're still fighting for a spot in the Champions League knockout rounds. They are still in and around, having a good season in the Premier League. They haven't lost that much. We've lost 7 games in the league. Who have those losses even come to? I don't even want to refresh my memory. Refresh my memory because it will absolutely irritate me. As a South African, I'm embarrassed that we are failing Rashford this season. Mina, relax. This is a rebuild and we need 2 strikers, 2 defensive midfielders, 2 centre-backs, then we can judge. This is transition and the results will be up and down. Quickly, before I answer this question, are you saying that these are the players that we need on top of the players that we already have? I just want to clarify, because we've spent 70 million on Højlund and you're telling me we need 2 more strikers. That's assuming that, Martial leaves, so Martial, the replacement comes in, but then are you saying that we need another striker on top of that? You're saying we need 2 more defensive midfielders and 2 centre-backs. I feel like we need way more than that. Sorry, I know that might be a bit harsh, but I think we need way more than that. I think we need fullbacks. I don't think we've sufficiently got the fullbacks to play. I feel like we need a right winger. I think we need a right winger. I think we need a 10. I think we need a 10. And I think we need a central midfielder. I think we need way more than that. And you're right, it is a rebuild. One thing I totally agree with is a rebuild. But the point where you say, like, this is transitions and the results will be up and down, it shouldn't be like that. Because when you've spent 440 million, you should anticipate to see a little bit of something. You should anticipate to see if the results were up and down. Guys, let me ask you lot an honest question, yeah? If the results were up and down, yeah? If the results were up and down, you know, you lose one game, you win one game. But it's the same type of performances every game where you're seeing an identity, you're seeing a pattern of play. You see the little holes in the team where, oh, yeah, we need a right winger. Or we need someone there, and then that changes it. Do you think that would change your viewpoint on the entire situation? Because this season, I think the biggest issue is every game is different. We go into every game not knowing how we're going to play. Are you going to get 100% United? You're going to get 50% United? You're going to get 20% United? Are we going to get sloppy United? Are we going to get counter-attacking United? Are we going to get pressing United? Are we going to get giving the ball away non-stop United? Are we going to get the goalkeeper giving the ball away United? Are we going to get someone scoring an own goal United? Someone giving away a handball United? What United are we going to get? And I think that's the biggest identity. It's an identity crisis because we cannot identify an identity. It's an identity crisis at this point with this team because we don't know what we're going to get. Mina, why do we need more players if the manager doesn't make changes to his 11 unless injured or he's fallen out with with players? You're just wasting money. I mean, this is a good point. You don't know where that money's gonna go. You don't know where that money's going to go. Someone says it here. Imran says it here. As a kid, my mom gave me £5 to buy milk and bread and I spent it on toys. That's what 10 Hag has done. Imagine getting sent to the shop to buy bread and milk and you come back with toys. You got to pour your cereal in with the toys and just eat that. But that's the logic is kind of the same. It's like you went to another league to buy a striker and you walked away with Rasmus Højlund. You know, and this is just me being like with Rasmus Højlund, guys. Right now, I'm just being reactionary in it. But you looked at the squad. Okay, this is a nice example. You stood and made everybody line up in a line. Yeah, you looked at the entire squad and you said, Bruno Fernandes, you're my captain this season. That's what you said. When you had Varane there, To be honest, outside of Varane, who the hell would be captain? So it's actually kind of harsh that I'm saying that. But who else would even be captain under Varane? But it's right. The manager has made questionable decisions. But you lot know where I stand. Big up to Jack says, anyways, keep up the good work. Thanks for not being as biased as Mark or Adam. Okay, thank you. Big up, Jack. If Højlund started, it would have been a different result. I'm not too sure about that. Look at the table, minute. Nothing has changed since Wednesday. Perhaps the players are saving their legs for Bayern. I'm sorry to laugh at that comment. I apologize for laughing at your comment, and I know it's your opinion. I respect everyone's opinion here, guys. I respect everyone's opinion here on the channel. You guys know that. That is bullshit. That performance is not saving your legs. That performance today, you're better off not turning up. Call in sick. Miss the team bus and just call in sick and don't turn up. I don't think they're saving their legs for Bayern and Liverpool. Then I'll be honest. The reason why I have no faith in the Bayern game is because it relies on a result in another game, and that's out of your control. And I feel like once you've done that, once it's out of your control, your destiny, your fate is kind of written for you. So let's not dwell too much on the Bayern game. Honestly, guys, let's not dwell on it too much. Because, you know, the worst thing that can happen in that game is that Copenhagen and Galatasaray draw and United lose. Then you'll be like, oh, if we had won, then, you know, we would have been through. Do we even deserve to go? Do you guys want to go through to the round of 16 and come up against another big European club? We've already seen what happened when we played against flipping Galatasaray this season and how many goals we leaked to Copenhagen. Do you guys want to go into the round of 16 and come up the likes against who? I can't even say PSG because God knows if they're even going to be through. But do you want to come up against the Man City? Do you want to come up against Man City in the Champions League knockouts? For the sake of football heritage, absolutely yes. For the sake of football heritage, I say yes. But from an honest perspective, do you think we deserve to go through having, if we beat Bayern, we would have won 2 games in the Champions League? That's disgraceful. We should be fighting to top the table, not be fighting on the final day and begging the other result to be a draw. That's disgraceful. That's embarrassing. The amount of goals that we've leaked, the fact that we've leaked that many goals in games, we've conceded 3 goals multiple times in the group stages. That's actually disgraceful. That's actually disgraceful. And saving your legs for Liverpool. We're going to be here this time next week, Sunday. I will be here probably we'll be sitting here complaining about the same stuff. We will probably be complaining about the exact same stuff. Only want to be in the Champions League tournament if we can challenge for the title. Otherwise, it's just a financial benefit. My heart can't handle being in the competition just to make up numbers. Why would you want that? Why would you want to be in a competition just to make up numbers? Isn't that what we used to troll Arsenal about all those years? All those years that they were just there. They weren't doing nothing. They weren't winning it. They were just there. They were just a number. And now you just want to be a number in it and lose in a knockout stage. Get me out of that and get me out of Europa as well. If I have to hear that, serious United in the Europa League, Europa. If I have to hear that theme song, the next time I go to United View, if I have to go to the studio on a Thursday night, nah, no thanks. Give me 1 game of football a weekend, I'll take it. Give me 1 game of football a weekend, and I'll take it. Manchester United are the most exciting team in the Champions League. The competition will be poorer without the excitement. This brother or sister, whoever this is just trolling me at this point. I think I'm being trolled. Guys, I think I'm in an episode of Punked. Ashton Kutcher, where are you? Come out. Is this you? Ashton Kutcher, is this you? Because I am being punked right now. I had people calling me last week after the Galatasaray game just to laugh. Every time United lose, my group chat of people that I play COD with, they just at me saying question mark. That's it. They just at me in the group chat with a question mark. There is no way you think that United isn't... United, forget in the Champions League. Does anyone actually think United is an exciting team to watch this season? Do we actually even think United are exciting to watch? Because I don't think so. I don't think United are exciting to watch. Forget about even in the Champions League. Just in general this season, I don't think we're exciting to watch. Even United, if United finish second place, after that when we get to the round of 16, United going to get the best team in every group like Madrid. If that's happened, United are finished in Champions League anyway. Facts. Is this true? Even if we finish 4th and Sir Jim's other teams finish higher in their league, they will get the CL spot. I don't know, man. There's not a lot of clarity regarding that stuff about the clubs that are owned by the same 2 owners. There's not really. But Sir Jim doesn't own United outright, so again, there's no clarity. One thing's for sure, guarantee Bruno got the yellow card so he doesn't get embarrassed in the Liverpool game. I've spoken about it like 5 times so far on the stream. I generally just think that he got it so that, inevitably when the embarrassment happens next weekend, people ain't going to be dragging him. Because do you guys remember the 7-0? He was getting ripped apart. Bruno Fernandes was getting ripped apart by fans. He was getting ripped apart by the fans, if you guys remember. And I realised, and also, we actually had this conversation on stream, I think it was yesterday with Marcel and Saeed, I think it was. I said it, Bruno is not a big 6 player. He doesn't play well in the big 6 games. He does not, I think Adel just got the news now. Wait, is Bruno not playing in the Liverpool game? He picked up a yellow card today for dissent in the last 10 minutes. So he's suspended. He knew coming into this game that 1 yellow card, suspension. suspension for the next game, and he picked up a yellow card inevitably in the last 10 minutes of the game, meaning he's out for the Liverpool game. And I feel like Bruno knows the agenda, or not even the agenda. Bruno knows the discourse surrounding him and Big Six games. Excuse me. He knows that people say that he's a ghost for Big Six games. He knows that people get onto him after City, Liverpool, Arsenal, whoever we play away from home. He is always the first person to get criticised because he's always the... I feel like sometimes the moments are too big for him. Like with Bruno Fernandes, I feel like... And you know what I don't get, guys, is he does not play like this for Portugal. So why does he get a pass for this at club level? What is going on in the Portugal camp that we need to start doing in the Manchester United camp to make sure that he gets all this rattery behaviour out of him? I feel like Bruno Fernandes is mentioned it. Bruno listens to all the media outlets and see this. I think he knows what people think, like fans say about him. I think he knows the criticism he gets. And inevitably, when you are the captain of Manchester United, you are the face of the team. And when you are the face of the team, you are going to get dragged. Inevitably, that's what's going to happen. Especially when it's big games. You are going to be the one that gets criticised. And when you drop... The best thing you can do is in a big game, have a good performance. Because then at least you've got legs to stand on. You can come out and... Today, he had to come out and say it was not good enough. Liverpool game or, big six games, he's going to have to be like, I wasn't good enough. Hold yourself accountable. But he doesn't do that. He does not do that. So for me, it's like, did he do that on purpose? I think he did. And I know a lot of you guys think that in the chat. But guys, before we quickly wrap up the stream, 3 things we learned after the game today. Bro, I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to... I can... 3 things we learned after today. I can't say anything. That's not what I said after the Newcastle game. It's not anything that I can't say after the Newcastle game. Luke Shaw should... I'll say actually... This Varane situation is causing more harm than good. That's the first point. Because after that second game, I would have shifted Luke Shaw to left back or taken him off, leave Reguilon at left back, and I would have brought on Varane. But the beef between him and Ten Hag is proven too bad. It's proven too bad. And there's more harm than good at this point. And there's less benefit to everyone, all situations. The player, the manager, and the team. That's number 1. Number 2, this front line is the worst front line I've ever seen for Manchester United. And I'm sticking by it. You lot can talk to me about Dan James, chat to me about Elanga and all them guys. But at least Elanga has found the back of the net this season. Multiple times. At least he's done it multiple times. Simple as that. We can talk about, that time, that era of Manchester United. But there's no excuse for 2 players between them to cost nearly 160 million and to not find the back of the net in the Premier League. There's no excuse. I'm sorry. There's no excuse. There's no excuse to have 20 shots on goal and only 3 on target. 3. 1, 2, 3 on target, guys. There's no excuse for that. And I can't excuse that. The manager shouldn't excuse that. And we as fans should not excuse that. We should not excuse that. That's my second point. Third point. Erik Ten Hag. You live by the sword, you die by the sword. I don't even know what the hell that means. Why am I saying that? I just wanted to say it. It sounds kind of cool. It sounds like a kind of cool quote. You live by the sword, you die by the sword. I don't even know what the hell this... What is the sword? Is that McTominay? Is that McTominay? Could I refer to McTominay as the sword in reference for this quote? The sword in question is Scott McTominay. Yeah, that's what we're going to go with. The sword in question is Scott McTominay. You live by McTominay, you will die by McTominay. It's as simple as that. And why I'm saying that is because the midfield is our biggest problem. The sloppiness, the transition, all of that is the midfield. If we fix the midfield, is the heart of the team. Yeah, it keeps it beating. It keeps the body beating. Without no midfield, there's no heart. There's no heart, guys. And United's problem is the midfield. We have issues in other positions, But it could easily be covered up if we had a great midfield. Honestly, like, I genuinely think that. And for me, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. I have to still back the manager, man. You lot call me crazy, call me delusional, call me psycho. But the manager, I think he can turn it around. I think he can turn it around. Am I crazy to think that, guys? Am I crazy to think that? I don't know, man. One more important thing: being a United manager is the best. No matter how bad you are, the fans will constantly blindly support you. I saw people singing Eric Ten Hag's Red Army when United were losing. You know, they're still singing the manager's name. They're still singing the manager's name. The team can't give consecutive high performances at home. I don't think at home. I think in general, you know, they can't give high performances away from home. And they can't do it consecutively at home. So really, they can't do it at all. Guirassy incoming will help that attack. I mean, we have been linked for him for 20 million. But for me, it's like, you have to go out and buy a striker that's got, what, 7 in 15? After you spent 70 million on a striker? Like, that's delusional. That is you basically saying that the club have failed you with the recruitment of them bringing in their player. Guirassy is going to come in and the guy, he won't score. He won't score. Then we'll be back at square one. We'll be on our third version of Weghorst. We had the Dutch version. What is it? Well, where is he? He's Danish, right? I want to say that Højlund is Danish. So we've had Weghorst. We've had the Dutch Weghorst. We've had the Danish Weghorst. Where's Guirassy from? Is he from Senegal or Mali? Let me check. I think he's from, I want to say he's from, he's from Guinea. So we're about to have the Guinean Weghorst, basically, essentially. We're going from the Dutch Weghorst to the Danish Weghorst and then the Guinean Weghorst. We have a big problem, guys. We have a big problem. Big up to Kevin, says, we are in December and this midfield has not been balanced once. You guys need to tell me what do you see to support this manager. Balancing this midfield should not be difficult. And that's why I said, guys, my last tweet today before I came off Twitter, guys, I said that I'm basically struggling. Like, I said that the manager's press conference comments post game would be basically my final nail in the coffin. I have one more nail. Honestly, guys, I have one more nail in the coffin that's waiting to be hammered in. That nail is waiting to be hammered in. And it's like, it's just sitting on, you know when you're doing DIY, I don't do DIY that often, but you know when you're doing DIY and you're putting stuff together and you just line the nail up and you're just waiting to get the best angle to just wham, hammer it in. That's me right now with where I stand with the manager. It's like, bit by bit, nails have been put into the coffin. And the last one is there. It's like that last nail is boom, Bayern, boom, Liverpool. Liverpool is just going to hammer it in. It's going to hammer it in. So next week, I'll be honest. I'll be very honest with you guys. Do not be surprised if I've come here and I've changed my tune. Do not come in. Don't come to my stream and be surprised and say, Mina, you're jumping ship already. Or you're just being like everybody else. I'm telling you lot right now. And the way that I've sat here on stream, criticizing the manager, should show you guys how much I'm starting to question the process. And that's why I really want to have a debate with Marcel, but he's not replying to me. Marcel has not replied to me yet. I don't think he's at the game. But that's why I would like to have an honest decision. Because I've been saying this for weeks now. I've been saying that the manager's decisions will shoot him in the foot. I've been saying it time and time over again. And today, I literally, after the game, I was like, oh my God. At this point, what do I do? I said, what do I do? And I don't want anyone, like, for me, one thing I always say is that, guys, I open the floor to, like, honest discourse, honest conversation. I respect people's opinions as long as they respect mine. I always say it says it in the chat, I think, in the comment section, the rules of the channel, challenge the opinion, not the person. Yeah. So I always, if you lot don't agree with what I'm saying, challenge me, challenge my opinion, and I will challenge yours, of course. But let's not be disrespectful to each other. Okay. Let's not be disrespectful. Let's challenge each other's opinions. And I'm saying this in case I bring Marcel on or not. If I bring him on tomorrow or anytime during the week, be respectful of people's opinions. Just challenge it. Just challenge it. It's as simple as that. Big up to everyone that's locked in. This has been the longest stream post-match that I think I've ever actually done. I don't think I've actually done this long of a stream. There will be no Manchester United women vibe along tomorrow for the Spurs game. As I mentioned, I'll be going to the game. So there will be a vlog instead. We will have a match day vlog. We'll have content on Monday ahead of the Bayern game. Obviously, Bayern post-match content. Then we have content throughout the week. I will have Marcel back on the channel definitely at some point during the week. And I'll be live on Twitch in the next probably hour or so. Probably in the next hour or so, I'll be live on Twitch playing Warzone. So I will be watching Saeed's stream because I need to watch that. I need to watch that for entertainment purposes, purely. But if you don't want to come over to Twitch, link in bio, or you can just go on Twitch and type in MinaFootball and it will come up. And we'll be chilling, we'll be vibing, we'll be doing all of that, ignoring football because we don't care now. We don't care. We don't care about football anymore. Yeah? Remember, guys, what do I say all the time after a bad game? There's more to life than football. I got a roof over my head. I got food. I'm warm. It's cold outside. I'm warm inside. I got clothes on my back. You know, I got family. My loved ones are still alive. Football is not end all or be all. I say that after all the time we lose, man. You guys know what it is. Big up to everybody. Appreciate you lot for sticking around for this long. If you want to join the membership club, you can. It's the pinned comment in the chat. You get your badges, you get your emojis, you get custom content, member only content, and you obviously support the content coming, the growth, all of that on this channel. Big up to everyone, man. We will be back probably on tomorrow. I'll probably be back tomorrow. But I'll be live on Twitch later on, man. You guys know what it is. Big up to everyone. I hope you all have a wonderful evening. You know what it is, man. Life goes on. Life goes on. And you know what? We stay Eric Ten Hag in. Eric Ten Hag's Red Army. Big up to everyone, man. Have a good evening. Peace out.